Hi everyone, welcome to this week's edition of the CertiK Security Leaderboard Showcase. I'm your host, Aaron Leibowitz. As you all know well by now, in this showcase, we host a guest for a live AMA where we discuss their work with CertiK, the Security Leaderboard, and we throw in some live questions from you, the viewers. Our goal is to help raise the standards of security in the DeFi ecosystem. The Security Leaderboard found at CertiK.org is a free tool to help you DYOR. Today, I will be joined by George from the Relight finance team, contributing $500 worth of rally for today's top live questions. Make sure to read the rules for the rewards in the Twitter post at CertiK.org in order to qualify for rewards. Thank you to the Relight team. Please remember to like and subscribe before we jump in here. Now, why don't we go ahead and take a look at the Relight listing on CertiK.org. Here's the landing page that you see when you land at CertiK.org. Scrolling down, you can see plenty of projects you know. You can see their Skynets, their audits, their shields. And let's navigate to the Relight page. Over here, you can click into the PDF of the full audit report. You can see what we found and how the team alleviated any issues that were found. Continuing down, you'll see the Skynet static analysis as well as the other security primitives. You can actually click into these tabs to see a wealth of data that is super useful for any retail investors. Now, why don't we go ahead and bring on George? Hey, George, how you doing? George, can you hear me?
Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Yes, with a bit of lag, but I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Well,
very good. It was quite an intense day, but I managed to get on the AMA. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm thrilled. So why don't we dive right in here? Can you give us a little introduction of yourself, of Relight, your background, and maybe your role within the project?
Sure. For those who don't know me, I'm George. I'm the CEO of Relight Finance. My background originally was in media, and especially media entrepreneurships. And then I started working as a consultant for IT businesses, mainly telcos, finance sector. So we did a lot of business development projects alongside with a bit more kind of innovation. Breakthrough innovation.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in crypto since 2013. Been following the space, but most actively since 2016-17, where I also started giving consulting to blockchain startups and crypto companies and on their business model and how they can structure the tokenomics. And Relight actually came from a conversation with my founders when we discussed in October last year, where we discussed the inefficiency in the DeFi lending space and what actually is lacking there and what could be improved. And eventually we decided to start Relight. We really wanted to change that lending space and make it much better and usable and fair for the users. Otherwise, I can give you also a background of the team too. So we have also my CTO Boris as well, very nice guy, developer and also CTO now, working with fintech startups, also in the medical sector, doing smart contracts and all those kind of things. And afterwards he came on board when Relight and started as a CTO position. Then we have compliance from Hannes, amazing guy, worked with the Estonian government, social, and bringing quite good insights of how also the company structure needs to be executed on a legal sense. Mm-hmm. Then we have Christo, a great tokenomics guy who used to work with Chinese credit companies. And then we have, of course, Stan, which is a great product guy, and I'm really happy that I'm among very talented team.
Excellent. Well, that sounds like a really great team to especially tackle the lending protocols. Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what separates Relight from lending protocols such as Compound or Aave? We're operating on a little bit of lag, guys, so bear with us.
Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can. George, can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Excellent. So can you dive into what separates Relight from other lending protocols?
Absolutely. So the first one is Relight is designed from day one to be cross-chain. So what we want to really bring is to connect the liquidity or tackle the big problem of liquidity defragmentation. What does it mean? It means different assets sitting on different chains, DOT sitting on DOT, BSC, BNB sitting on BSC, Ethereum token sitting on Ethereum. So this is a big defragmentation that needs to be challenged and tackled. And the idea of Relight is actually to bring them together. The second part is that we really want to focus on better fees and better collateral. That means that the loan to value that you get is going to be much better than the competitors. For instance, Aven Compound at the moment, you can get like 65% loan to value, which means that eventually you need to put a lot of collateral. In Relight Finance, this percentage will be, the loan to value will be up to 85%. And this is done, of course, for another novelty from our product is the reserve fund, which also works as a mitigator or like safety cushion against shortfall, but also helps as well to lower the collateral and decrease the fees. And I think finally is that we have various pools with our partners, but also we are exploring the NFT space and all kinds of how to say mix and match of collateral, so that people can have like more freedom to choose what kind of collateral to take and how to take it. And again, these kind of things have to happen in a much greater UX experience, and that kind of cross-chain happens on the background, but actually the user sees it as a few clicks. So that's the main kind of competitive advantage towards other lending protocols.
Fantastic. So when you're talking about those cross-chain tokens, you're talking about native assets, not wrapped ETH, WBTC. You're talking native BTC, native ETH. Is that correct?
Correct. And this is done through bridges. So most of the bridges do that. So the token itself moves from, like we did with the bridge recently, from Ethereum to BSC. Really, Ethereum basically moves freely now to BSC chain. So through that bridges, you can actually do that. And we're not gonna explore that much the vertical of the wrappers, because the wrappers are just, they're substitute to and not tackling the real problem.
100%. That's really excellent to be able to offer native asset lending. That's a huge innovation compared to all of the other players that I've seen in the space. So what stage of the development or delivery or launch are you guys in? Where are you guys at with the project?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually launched recently the roadmap, like more detailed way and updated to it. So first, in August, September, we're going to have the farming phase, which is a very, very simple kind of phase where you can take the LP tokens from Uniswap and PancakeSwap and stake them in Relight and earn APY. So that's like a very kind of a neat, and I think a needed feature asked a feature from the community. And then afterwards, we're moving towards the so-called initial liquidity provision, which we kind of gather USDC and DAI as well as initial liquidity for the lending, where also users can lock their stable assets, earn APY and yield. And then afterwards, when that is done in September, then in October, we can take that liquidity and put the real and MVP to live version, meaning that October-ish, sometimes at that time we can have like MVP lending, which means we'll have like already, Ethereum, stable coins like USDC and DAI, pools, and also BNB. So this is a very interesting way to actually move and you already can test as well, like those pools and interact between them.
Got it. Very cool. So just to be clear, you guys are going to have liquidity mining with ETH as well as BNB through PancakeSwap and Uniswap?
Well, if you consider like taking the LP tokens from PancakeSwap and staking them into Relight, yes, that's going to happen.
Whatever type of mining or farming you want to call it, it's a way to earn yield. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah, and otherwise, of course, as we mentioned and as we promised, when the MVP lending is live, then of course lenders and borrowers they will get rewards in Relay.
Got it. That's excellent. That sounds really interesting. So I was going to dive into the roadmap. You really just answered what's on the roadmap next. Is there anything that's not released that you want to share with us today? Or are we keeping it under wraps for now?
Yeah, well, of course, I can tell you a bit more. Like then afterwards is the Q4, which is quite interesting period for the Relight. Then we'll do the dot lending, the implementation of the reserve fund, which is phase 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, utilizing the insurance protocol Shield Finance and PASIC, the analytics. Both of them already partners with us, and more cross-chain approach and multi-chain with Reef as well as partners. So Q4 is very, very interesting, very exciting. Afterwards, for 2021, 2020, 22, expanding loans, so flash loans there. We'll have reserve fund phase 2, expanding collaterals and more pools, Uni, ADA, Sol, and then finally, end of the next year, we really want to implement like full interoperability, utilizing Bitcoin as well. Hopefully Bitcoin and then the Bitcoin network with the Ethereum network, and then with the DOT as well, the Polkadot too. We have like really interesting ideas of how you can connect as well biometric data and log in with your wallets, so that people can really interact with the wallets via just a fingerprint, and then do very quick one-click lending type of activity. So very, very exciting stuff. I'm really, really passionate about it to see like how things are going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually quite interesting, because also developers already gave us a bit more clarity on the estimations, and that is actually giving us more confidence that we can really deliver. So that's why maybe now at the moment the landing page roadmap is a bit different than the one you see in the Medium, but that's going to be updated as well soon. So you have
very cool. That sounds extremely exciting for you guys. Speaking to those, I think you mentioned Shield and Reef partnerships. What is the nature of those partnerships? What are they bringing to the table for you guys?
Yeah, with very interesting, both of them. With Shield, they help us with the reserve fund, meaning that at some point in a very extreme situation when market falls and we need to liquidate part of the Rally token reserve fund, then there will be a price guarantee, which could be then utilized by the Shield Finance protocol. That means that we'll have like more essential hard, let's say, stablecoin asset to cover any kind of liquidations and etc. And also for Reef, it's also very interesting because again we're moving to a multi-chain, and they will have also their partner dexes as well. They're very interesting projects as well coming up there that we can also have. We will have as well pools in Reef, in Relight, and also a pool as well for Shield Finance token. So both Reef token holders can borrow and lend, and also Shield Finance token holders can borrow and lend as well in Relight.
That's great. Sounds like you guys have not only the infrastructure yourselves to build this, but the partner network to really bring this to fruition.
Exactly.
So speaking about choosing Polkadot, I guess it's pretty obvious now why you've chosen Polkadot, the parachains and bridges that they're enabling. Is that the main reason? I mean, it's a pretty easy assumption that that's why you went with that over ETH or BSC.
We're not excluding anyone at the moment, Relight's nature is more like to be open to multi-chain approach. It's just that Polkadot architecture at the moment is something that we really like as philosophy. The bridges as well, the communication with the bridges, how the assets communicate with the bridge in the power chain, and then at the same time you can easily also communicate with the relay chain as well. That is on architecture-wise, I think it's very, very interesting and very nice to see that there is developments on it. To us, there's things needs to be tested there on the power chains flow, in power chains, and how things are going to work as well on Kusama. And that's very, very, very important. Like when we have the white paper as well in Polkadot, we also understand that it's going to take some time as well. Nevertheless, at some point, we really strongly hope moving towards Polkadot and having most of as well code written in Rust and so forth. So, but again, architecture-wise, I think they have great vision.
Let's pull up a live question here. What is the purpose of the Relight token in the ecosystem?
So the first, yes, very good one. So the first purpose is really token essentially is a government token. So when the lending is live, and lending and borrowing is live, then you can actually decide upon pool utilization, what kind of pools to be open, what kind of fees in particular ways need to be structured, and how strategies upon executing those pools. And this is very, very important because at some point we know and we believe that really token holders have to be very actively taking role into the decision making of the company. This is why we have the token eventually. Then second, a rally token as well is part of the reserve fund. So it's capital, and it can be used as a recapitalization mechanism. And thirdly, you can earn yield with that. So you can, as we said, you can stake LP tokens. You can earn additional yield by participating in liquidity as a liquidity provider. So essentially, this is the main idea behind Ready Token. But the first one, the government's part, is very, very important because that's really, we want to really empower people with that token, right? It's not just an asset on CoinGecko that will have its price, and markets are markets, right? But essentially to hold it and decide the future of the company, that is something that is the real value.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. We'll go for another live question here. What problems is your project trying to solve? Do you think that the problems are not yet noticed by others in the DeFi space?
They are, but for some reason they're not quite yet well enough tackled. Like the UX, what is your first click when you land on let's say a lending platform, right? Where do you click? Do you go to borrow? Do you go to lend? Do you collateralize? When do you do the collateralization? Where is your liquidation ratio? Where is the liquidation ratio? It took me some time, and as a novice users, trust me, people keep asking me the same thing. So these kind of things have to be explained. People have to understand the risk as well. So on the Relight platform also, we'll explain them the risk. We'll explain what's liquidation happening, and that's why we're also expanding Relight Edu and Relight education content to just how to say, we need to get people to understand like what they can do, right? And why does the system work like that. Then the other one is, of course, again, lack of cross-chain, lack of that kind of liquidity merging. There's none there really. And many of the protocols at the moment, they have like really monolith code structure, and they cannot innovate fast and do that real multi-chain approach that we want to tackle. I hope I answered that question.
I think you gave a great answer. I'm going to continue with the live questions here since they're coming in quickly now.
Yeah, please.
Let's go with, can you give an overview of the Relight Finance Tokenomics? How does we're going to skip the second part. Just give an overview of the tokenomics, please.
Yes, actually, we have to update as well the token metrics So I don't have it at the moment, but yeah, there will be a cap of 182 million rally. That's it. At the moment, there's around about 28 million rallies in circulation. And that's absolutely fine. We will, of course, there's a need sometimes to mint a bit because we need to distribute it to investors. We also need to give some early as well for market making, to actually for exchanges, and also kind of keep the liquidity rewards in check. So that's why but very importantly, as I said, there will be no more than 182 million rallies, and that's a must, and that's in the contract.
Got it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So you guys are extremely transparent compared to many other DeFi projects. You have your team is fully doxed on the website. You have a tokenomic breakdown, a public roadmap. Why is transparency important to you?
Because this is why how we want as well to participate in a project. We also sometimes participate as investors in projects, and we also help other projects and partners. And we also ask the same questions as the ones that are tackled in the landing page. For me, that's the key. That's the key to real. We don't consider like users that the users, and they're their community. You're part of the community as well. We need to communicate effectively. That means that the transparency is needed. And when we have a problem, we tell them as well. I mean, when we have success, we tell them as well. That's part of we definitely consider it more like a teamwork there, and then just service providers versus the users, right?
Sure.
It's much more than that, and that's why transparency is key there.
Got it. And for sure the same for me. When I'm looking to invest in a project, those are some of the main features that I look for, that not anonymous team, that public roadmap, especially some with milestones that have been hit. I know the launch of the BSC pool was big for you guys, or the Pancake Swap pool. I mean, all of those things, I'm right there with you. Why don't we dive into a little bit of a rapid fire round here? I'm going to shoot off some questions, and if you can try and give some quick answers, we'll get through as many of these as we can.
Okay.
Ready?
No, let's go.
What factors will influence future demand for your project? What steps are you going to take to boost adoption?
Is this a question more like a general question, or adoption towards Relight, essentially?
Adoption for Relight, I think.
There are two factors, like two verticals. One is business development, and the other one, or like let's say, one is product development, and the other one is marketing, right? Essentially, when we have like a big, nice product with the features that needs, and the community that asks for a particular pool and a particular feature, then by developing that, it opens the market for more users to come. And at the same time, taking that kind of advantages and putting it into a nice story to marketing to the marketers is the next step. So content writing, good education about lending space, tackling the novice users, explaining them all what they need to do, talking to communities in Asia with their native language. Those kind of things are a way to kind of drive the real kind of adoption, right? And then, of course, giving at the beginning enough liquidity rewards, but not like inflation the token massively, but just giving enough liquidity rewards to keep people engaged as well, to take and stake as well the liquidity there and keep them there. And again, this is part of the bigger vision, right? So that means that kind of they become part of that community. They give up the lending, but they also kind of have a key to the next phases of the project, right? They'll have like much more greater user experience, much more ability to lend and borrow with ease. So those kind of things. But it's a plan between, it's a good combination between the product development and the marketing, and they come together, right? So it's not just like that. Yeah.
For sure. So on the security side, why did you guys, first of all, choose CertiK for your audit? And what made you decide to implement the Shield and Skynet solutions?
Very, very simple answer here. I think you're the leaders of the space, and that's why we approached you. Then afterwards, our advisor Marko Kilic told us like, hey, you should talk to CertiK, and we did that, and we're very happy that we actually get like very quick response. The audit was very good as well, technically wise, checking all the code line by line, talking to Boris, and explaining what are the issues and how it can be fixed. Again, transparency. So that's kind of the things we really happy that we chose CertiK. And of course, the shield is there. I think it's a must as well for a project, especially in the beginning. It really helps with. It gives a bit more confidence also to the community. I think there will be more so audits coming up, and there will be more smart contracts to be checked. And also when the product expands, of course, then we need to not only do another probably something other with CertiK, but also of course include bounty programs, more audits and stuff like that. So it's
Excellent.
all
We're thrilled to get that feedback, and we are looking forward to continued cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
So what measures have you guys taken to limit your exposure to, for example, rug pulls or flash loan attacks? This is a live question.
This is part of the security. Mm-hmm. And I think what we can do there as well is just test. If there is a flash loan kind of loan problem, or there's somebody's going to maliciously overuses the flash loan, then we just need to have all those use cases tested. And again, this is part of the security team. We have another great security advisor coming on board. And apart from the rug pull, well, I don't know, like
rug pulls.
Yeah. I mean, the team is there, and we're very transparent with everything we do. Right, so. But security, and this part is again really, and we actually set a very interesting structure and like for testing the kind of the contracts, and also doing the audits and the reviews, and taking again from the best of the best those practices. We can reduce at least the really malicious cases, that we can avoid those flash loan exploits.
Got it. And so why the name Relight? Where did it come from?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we wanted to redefine how you lend and borrow. So this is where the re came, and light because it has to be light to use. It has to be easy to use. So this is where we combine those two words together, and this is how Relight came. Sounds good.
That makes sense to me. So you spoke a little bit before about how the reserve fund is going to help lower the LTV and over collateralization.
The TVL increases. Sorry, TVL increases when the
TVL increases, but the
loan to value increases when the reserves. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. No problem. The over-collateralization issue that's rampant throughout DeFi lending protocols today, is that also going to be solved by the reserve fund?
Well, essentially, you collateralize more because you need to get a bigger loan against your Bitcoin or your Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, the competitors, what they do is you collateralize one Ethereum and you get stable coin value worth of 65% of that Ethereum. So loan to value 65%. With the reserve fund in Relight, you can get that percentage to 85%. Meaning, if you already put one Ethereum in Relight, you can get a better loan to value. So 85% of that value can be transferred to a stable coin. And
awesome.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll end it on one more question as we've flown through our time today. Where can we follow the community and stay tuned for updates, as well as where can we access the Relight app?
Yeah, Relight app at the moment is only a placeholder, but soon you'll see more things, and we'll also present more about the UX and all those kind of things for the community. But find us on relight.finance. Then Relight Finance Official is our Telegram, and also Relight Finance on Twitter. and I hope to see you there as well. And ask as well in our amazing Telegram group where all our great community managers will answer your questions, and also for the next AMAs as well. So if you sign up there, you can know where you can find us and where we can have a chat more.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, George. It's been a pleasure. Anything you
so
want to leave us with?
Stay tuned for new updates. Really exciting times. Don't look at only the price. Markets are markets, as they say. It's gonna be fine and all good. Just keep on holding, and it's gonna be fun.
Awesome. All right, love to hear it. Thanks so much, George. Have a good one,
Cheers.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Next week.
Bye.
Cheers.